Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey.
A bit to talk about this week. Sorry if I sound a little bit weird. I'm recording this from the South Island on the roving setup that we use from time to time. But let's just jump straight into the Sami Zayn bloodline, because we finally got the knife to the heart that we kind of expected.
Yeah. And I basically called about when it would happen too. Yeah, it was obvious, but it was still done in such a really good way. Honestly, it's this whole storyline has been just pure beauty.
100%.
The end. Yeah, and you had Sami thinking he won Jey over, and then Jey stabs him in the back and says no, he's always going to be look after his family.
And then
then
boom.
we get
stab.
Yep. So yeah, it's been a fantastic story. We and I like that there were little Easter eggs throughout the show too, like Cody apparently talking to Kevin Owens. That could be trying to convince him to side with Sami.
Yeah, Sami Zayn seems to have earned the respect of Cody Rhodes. And is leading to some sort of something.
And then Cody helped protect Sami from the beatdown that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: I don't think Jey fell back in line. I think Jey is only doing this for Jimmy.
Gotcha.
Because Jimmy was being threatened by Roman. Basically, get Jey back in line, or it will be your hide. Basically. And Jey remembers what he went through at the beginning of the Bloodline storyline.
So I was going to say, wasn't that the exact way that we got Jey to join the Bloodline in the first place? We had him...
Yep, it
was the Hell in a Cell?
match.
I Quit.
Yeah, it was I Quit Hell in a Cell match.
Yep.
And Jey just refused to give up until Roman attacked Jimmy. At which point, Jey did exactly what Edge did a few months back and quit to protect the loved one.
And we're just going back to that here, right? You know, Jey only really doing the bidding and only really sort of siding with the Bloodline for his brother. And it's kind of, you know, I do it for my family is a very vague statement, right? It could be my direct family in terms of my brother, or it could mean, you know, the more general bloodline. So it will be interesting to see what happens. You know, WrestleMania, I'm still going to assume it's going to be, you know, the two Usos versus Sami and Kevin. And then from there, don't really know. You know, if the Usos do lose the title, are they going to stay with the bloodline? Are they going to move around? Are they going to do something outside of Roman Reigns' sphere? Because at some point, they got to break off.
Yeah, and I think that happens at WrestleMania, actually. This is what I think happens. I think they lose to Sami and Kevin Owens on night one. They then get berated during a backstage segment on night two about making Roman look bad. Then there'll be a ref bump or something that will result in the referee being down during the title match at the end of the night. Jimmy and Jey will come out, and it will look like they're going to help Cody, just like they always have.
Yeah.
But Roman will get a super kick to the face out of nowhere.
Yeah. There's so many different options with WrestleMania coming up, right? Like, some matches we think are going in this way, and the aftermath will go in a different way. Like we just got the announcement of where Backlash is going to happen, with Bad Bunny coming in as the host. And now that's changed up potentially what we thought the Mysterios match is going to be, or the Mysterios feud was going to be.
Yeah. I do believe that the Mysterios will happen at WrestleMania. I think at this point they're too far down that path not to have it happen.
So we've got, other playing figures around, right? Like, I don't know if it's going to end at WrestleMania, with Bad Bunny potentially there. Santos, Escobar kind of poking his nose in a little bit. Damian Priest always going to be in the background for Dominic. I could see, Ray Dominic at WrestleMania and then Backlash being more of a sort of Ray Santos, Dominic Priest kind of piece. But as you say, I think that 1v1 is where the money is.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be, I think it'll be a fine match. I think they're doing everything, I think, right now with building Dominic up to at least be some sort of a threat to his father.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very excited about the match because I think it'll be the best match Dominic will have outside of the match he had with Seth a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Because you think about all the pieces, attacking him at Christmas, attacking him on Valentine's Day, getting put in jail, because of that. And that whole Ray Dom piece has been, I guess, boiling away in the background, not really being the main focal point, because, Judgment Day's been off doing their thing with Edge, his mommy, Rhea, has been off doing her stuff, and it's just been boiling a lot of segments. And now we're getting, the interactions with Santos and the week-to-week stuff. And, yeah, looking forward to those two to go head-to-head. It was something we didn't think we'd get, I feel like we were talking about this about a year ago, probably at WrestleMania. And we're like, Ray doesn't want it to happen, so it might not happen. And everybody just sort of sitting around. And here we are a year later, Dominic's turned heel, and it looks like we're going to finally get it.
Yeah, I will say this. I think we're 2 weeks away from Ray snapping.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll get closer and closer because we've already gotten to a point where Ray interrupted what Dominic was doing with Escobar, but he won't hit him. I think next week Dominic will drive him a step closer to it. And then the next week is when Dominic will do something that will just piss Ray off to the point where he finally does pop his son.
Mm-hmm.
And that will then say, fine, we're going to do this at WrestleMania. Bring your best because I will put you down.
Yeah.
I brought you into this world, I will take you out, kind of thing.
Well, what's the infamous, WWE 12 tweet? I can't wait to buy this game and beat my kids. Something like that. He'll finally get his chance live at WrestleMania. But yeah, that's where everything's looking. For the Mysterios, we'll go into song. I'm going to song here. The entrance theme this week is none other than one of my boys, the brawling brute himself, the fighting Irishman, Sheamus. It's a shameful thing, lost her head. And you're back to the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. We played Sheamus's theme, the Intercontinental title scene. I can't say another word that rhymes with Dean. It's all heating up. It's all happening.
Yep. I think this is like a lot of people may have issues with considering it being a lazy booking, just throwing everybody together, chasing after Gunther. I look at it the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
This makes the Intercontinental Champion and Gunther look more desirable. Because it's like everybody wants this title. Everybody wants to come after Gunther. That makes people think, I want to see one of these guys fight Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than it just being Gunther versus Joe Blow. And nobody caring because there was no build up to it.
Yeah, there's some interesting players in that group that's sort of been jumping around, you know. I do think Drew McIntyre and Sheamus are the two big, contenders and options there. Karrion Kross hasn't done a whole lot, you know, since returning. He's done a bit with Drew, if I recall, but since then, kind of floundered around. LA Knight's just getting out of his Bray Wyatt feud. The New Day just coming back up from being NXT Tag Champs. I don't know if we are going to end in some sort of 6-man matchup or anything like that. But
isn't there supposed to be a battle royal to determine Gunther's number one contender?
Is that next week, is it? Or this week?
I just know I heard something about a battle royal and Gunther's Intercontinental Championship, but I could be wrong.
I've been on holiday, so you are possibly correct. I can't look it up fast enough, so I'm going to take your word for it. And we're playing Sheamus' theme because that's, I guess, what we're going to be predicting.
Oh, no. I picked it because it's March and St. Patrick's Day. And he's Irish.
Yeah.
Same reason I played Finley's last week. And same reason I'm going to play Becky Lynch's next week.
And so, switching gear a little bit, put Raw and SmackDown on the back burner because we did have NXT Roadblock this week over on the third brand. Bit to talk about, I guess, just to quickly run down it. Tony D'Angelo, D-Jack, they had their little J-Hole House street fight, and D'Angelo actually came out on top.
Yeah, this is definitely, that was definitely an interesting decision. I definitely feel like they are building D'Angelo and evolving his character. And so we'll have to see exactly where they go from here with him. But I definitely like his positioning more now than I did a few months ago.
Yeah, because he seemed like he was, like, I guess the odd man out, or like he's sort of floating around. And then now he's getting that momentum, he's getting to show himself. He does still kind of rely on Lorenzo or rely on his lackeys, which is something we have seen quite a bit from his character. But yeah, I'm interested to see, you know. He's one of those 2.0 stars that we saw building, you know, D-Jack coming back down from the main roster. But I'd put, you know, D'Angelo in that group that just, if Braun wasn't there, if Braun wasn't holding this title for so long at the top of the card, I think D'Angelo would have gotten himself a good little shot there. And talking about Braun, he teamed up with the Creed brothers, he took on Indus Sher, and they just dominated. That being Indus Sher and Jinder.
Yeah, kind of be expected, since we have, it's a basically a three. You have the NXT champion on one side, and you don't have his number one contender on the other. There's no way he's going to lose.
That's true. You know, we already saw Braun Breaker defeat Jinder Mahal, or put a stop to him in the 6-man again. I think it really does just continue to line up. His next challenger sitting there waiting in the wings, sort of, I'd say waiting about, 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks from now, to take his shot.
Yep. But it is official now.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, it's been made official that we now will know for sure that it'll be Braun Breaker versus Carmella Hayes at Stand Up and Deliver, which will be a fantastic match. And hopefully Carmella's crowning achievement.
Hopefully. And if we're talking about Stand and Deliver, I think it's time to say our hallelujahs, because Shawn Michaels isn't coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
It's Johnny Gargano instead.
Woo!
All the sighs of relief in the world.
Yeah. And one more takeover. It's not called a takeover, but it's one more takeover for Johnny Takeover.
It was funny, right? Because we were just talking last week about how Johnny's floundered on the main roster after doing so well on NXT. Comes on back to have Shawn Michaels' back here against Grayson Waller. Yeah, should be a good little match between him and Waller.
Yeah.
And we just get to continually celebrate that Shawn Michaels isn't getting in the ring.
Absolutely.
Gonna skip over the mid-piece for now, just to focus on this main event. Roxanne Perez, Meiko Satomura, NXT Women's Championship on the line. Roxanne Perez putting up a good fight. Looking like maybe Meiko was going to pick up the win, but ultimately Roxanne Perez does clutch on to her title, but at what cost?
And she definitely took a lot of damage during this match. And so it's definitely an interesting wrinkle to her title reign here. And we'll have to see how effective it is for her. She may end up losing it temporarily to I guess Tiffany Stratton's supposed to be the next opponent. And then heal up and then come back in the summer and feud back for the title.
Yeah, I just don't know where the storyline is gonna go with these ones, right? Satomura raised her hands. We've got that show of respect. She is the top dog on NXT for their women's division. Then you collapse, you get ambulanced out, and you're like, all right, so what is Roxanne's future? 3 weeks from now, we've got Stand and Deliver coming up. Is she gonna be ready to go? Are we gonna get some chicken poop heel? Going with the old she can't come, so therefore just hand me the title. Are we gonna get some sort of Mick Foley probably shouldn't be out here, but dragging myself out so I can have a match kind of thing? There's a few options with what we can do with her. Or as you say, maybe just the title moves on to somebody else in the short term.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think this is going to be very similar to when Shawn Michaels had his concussion storyline. Where she'll try to have the match, and it'll be ill-advised, and she'll lose the match because she's not at 100%. So that'll give her an excuse for a rematch when she is 100%. Then she takes a break for a couple months. Then sometime around July or so, she comes back. Whoever's won the title has had a couple months of reign to be built up, and then you have her return and have a match at the SummerSlam takeover event.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a perfectly built feud for that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what is in Roxanne's future. Sticking in the women's division though, jumping over to Raw instead. We got our brand new women's tag team champions that I don't want to acknowledge, but hey, we have to acknowledge it. And we're getting ourselves WrestleMania, our 6-woman match. Trish Stratus jumping on in to go up against Bayley, and making it a nice clean 3-on-3.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, they decided that this is the route they want to go. So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of it because it does take titles that are worthless off the card as being defended. So it does eliminate some more options for other ladies. But that also means that we're going to have to see Lita and Becky with the tag titles for at least longer than 3 weeks.
There is always, a chance that we put them on the line in the match. If Damage Control win, then Damage Control get the belts kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know why we've taken this necessary route. As you say, we were so suspecting it was going to be Ronda, Shayna coming up for those belts. Maybe Lita and Lynch lose them prior to WrestleMania, but most likely they're going to be tied up in this match.
Yeah. Oh well.
Also, yeah, you're correct. I'll rewind. Gunther's opponent will be decided this week. Fatal 5-way match to see who's facing him.
Alright, so I wasn't technically correct because I heard it was a battle royal.
Close enough. A multi-person match.
Screw it. Let's have Sheamus and Drew pin somebody at the same exact time so it results in a triple threat.
I'm down.
Then you have Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre all in the same match.
That's all I could ever ask for. Quickly before we run out of time, we've got 2 to 3 minutes left here. Austin Theory, John Cena, finally gonna happen.
Yep. Phenomenal promo. Cena is Cena. He was the top guy for 12 years for a reason. Austin Theory still has a lot of work to do to grow into his character and his abilities on the mic. But he's definitely taking another step forward with this. Obviously, there's a lot of questions about whether or not they'll actually pull the trigger and put the title on Cena. If they do, it won't last long because you won't see Cena week in and week out.
Yeah,
so
that's the kind of question around it, right? Austin Theory is sink or swim against Cena. I feel like you put anybody on a mic against Cena, you're either going to rise to the occasion or you're going to just get drowned. And we're going to see in the next few weeks what he ends up pulling out. Can he, hang with Cena? Can he not? And then, the big question, as you say, who's going to be holding that belt? Is Austin Theory going to get the biggest rub of his life? Or is John Cena going to hold a belt for a couple weeks?
Yeah. Almost certainly, if he does win it, he'll bring back the U.S. Open Challenge. That's how he'll lose it relatively quickly.
Yeah, I don't know what John Cena's shooting at the moment in terms of movies and TV or anything like that, or if he's got a gap in his schedule to be defending it week to week. You could even have Austin Theory, I guess, cash in on one of those open challenges and pick the title back up, but hey.
Yeah. I do think, I think a lot of people are going to be seeing Austin Theory in a different light after this match.
Yeah, which is an interesting comparison, right? It's, sometimes you don't want to be the next anything, but the name there is John Cena.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Cena was the next Austin / Rock. Or Hogan, if you wanted to go back that far. Similar characters. But yeah, I think Austin Theory, I've said it many times on the show, has all the potential in the world, and he's just starting to scratch the surface of that potential. And his diamond is getting shined, and this will really this match could potentially reveal the entire diamond.
Yeah. You've been loving him since you saw him on Evolve. You're a long-time Austin Theory fan.
Yes.
Alrighty, well, it looks like we're coming up to time. Can't exactly tell because there's been a few audio issues, but I think we're coming up to time. Is there anything else you want to quickly jam in before we get to the end of this week's show?
No, I think I'm good.
Alrighty then. Well, it's been great talking to you.
Bye, B.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wrestling R&D Up, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/Wrestling RND Up, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/Wrestling RND Up. And we will see you next week.